All right, let's talk about something we all totally take for granted, the laundry drain. I mean, you never think about it, right? It's just there until you know the day it decides to turn your laundry room into a swimming pool. So today, we're going to get ahead of that. We're going to learn how to decode its little warning signs to avoid that massive headache. Because believe it or not, your laundry drain is always trying to tell you something about how it's doing. The real question is, are you actually listening? And here's the secret about pretty much any plumbing problem. It almost never just happens out of the blue. It starts small. It gives you these little hints, kind of like whispers, warning you that something much, much louder is coming down the line. Okay, so for our first section, let's learn how to actually hear those whispers. It's time to get tuned in and understand what your drain is trying to say. Okay, the very first sign, the one you're most likely to notice, is slow drainage. I mean, think about it for a second. Your washer is built to dump a ton of water really, really fast. So if that water is just sitting there in the sink long after the machine is done, well, that's a huge red flag. It means the water is literally fighting its way past a clog that's just getting started. And you can really see the difference here. On the one hand, you've got a healthy drain. The water just disappears, no problem. It keeps up. But on the other side, that standing water, that's the drain basically waving a white flag. Its capacity is shot, and it just can't handle the flow anymore. So, have you ever heard that weird gurgling sound, that glug 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 as the water is trying to go down? Yeah, that's not just your house being quirky. That's literally the sound of trapped air. Imagine this. Water is trying to push down, and trapped air is trying to bubble up, and they're both trying to squeeze through a tiny opening created by a clog. It's a traffic jam in your pipes. Now, when you start putting these clues together, the slow drain, and the gurgling noises, and maybe you find yourself dealing with little clogs all the time. Well, that's not a whisper anymore. That's the drain practically yelling at you that the problem is getting worse. And then there's this one. Okay, this isn't a whisper, this is a full-blown scream. If you smell sewage, just let's be blunt, it means gross, nasty water and waste are trapped and festering in your pipes. This is a sign you absolutely 100% cannot ignore. Okay, so we know the distress signals now, but what's actually causing all this trouble? Let's play detective and find the culprits hiding out in your pipes. You know, most of the time, the bad guy is pretty ordinary. It's just everyday buildup. I mean, think about washing a load of brand new towels. The amount of lint that comes off can be insane. Now, by itself, that lint might just wash away, but when it mixes with soap scum, which is basically like a sticky glue, you get this thick, nasty sludge. And over time, that sludge just builds and builds, making the pipe narrower and narrower. But what if it's something more serious? What happens when you've got a clog that just keeps coming back no matter what you do? Well, that's often a sign that the real problem runs much, much deeper. And yeah, these are the big ones. We're talking about things like pipes that aren't lined up right, or tree roots that have decided your sewer line looks like a great place to grow. Or how about this one, a blocked vent stack? That's the pipe that lets air into your plumbing system. If it's blocked, it creates this vacuum effect, and suddenly nothing in your house drains right. These are the kinds of problems that a bottle of drain cleaner or a little snake from the hardware store, they're just not going to touch. All right, so this brings us to the moment of truth. You've heard the signs, you know what could be causing them. So when do you throw in the towel on the DIY stuff and actually call a professional? Listen up, because these are the absolute deal breakers. If you see any of these four things, it's time to call a pro, like right now. If you've got backups that keep happening, if you smell that awful sewage odor, if you see any water pooling on the floor, or, and this is a big one, if other drains in your house are slow too. That last one is a huge clue that you've got a problem with your main sewer line. I get it. Calling a plumber can feel a little daunting. You're not sure what they're going to do or how much it's going to cost. So let's pull back the curtain and take a look at what a pro will actually do when they show up. A real pro isn't just going to start poking around and guessing. Nope. They're going to diagnose the problem first. They might use a special camera to literally look inside your pipes and see the clog for themselves. They've got heavy-duty equipment to clear it out the right way, and they'll check the whole system, the venting, the slopes of the pipes, to make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to. Okay, so we figured out the problem, we know how to fix it. But how about we try to avoid this whole mess in the first place? Let's wrap up with a couple of simple, proactive tips to keep your drains happy. Honestly, there are two super simple things you can do that make a huge difference. First, get a lint filter or a lint trap for your washer hose. They're so cheap, they take seconds to install, and they catch the #1 villain right at the source. And second, pay attention to your detergent. These new high-efficiency washers, they don't need a ton of soap. If you use too much, it doesn't all rinse out, and that's what creates that sticky soap scum. Just use the recommended amount. That's it. It's one of the best things you can do. So really, that's the whole point, isn't it? It all boils down to paying attention to those little signs, those little whispers, so you never have to deal with a big, messy shout of a major plumbing disaster. So I'll leave you with this little thought to chew on. Today, we've been focused on your laundry drain, but every single drain in your house has a voice. Now that you know how to listen, what are the other drains in your home about to tell you?